Heine Stacker was driving to a big job interview when she was stopped by a police officer. The young woman was terrified as she hasn't done anything wrong and is known to drive quite safely. The officer pulled her over and asked her to open her trunk. What the cop did next, however, left the young girl more stunned than ever. When the cop stopped her, she naturally assumed it was to ask for her papers. She immediately reached her hands to her glove compartment looking for her papers and ID. But the police officer told her not to worry about pulling anything out. When she asked why she was being pulled over if not to show verification of her license, the officer told her that he just wanted her to know that the brake lights of her car were out. Shiny wasn't satisfied with his response as she knew things just didn't add up. Shiny had her brake lights replaced not long ago, as she wrote on Facebook. There was obviously another issue. What troubled her even more was the fact that she didn't get a ticket. Shiny was upset because her lights weren't working after she fixed them. Why should she pay to get them corrected so quickly? She communicated her apparent displeasure to the police, who answered in an unexpected manner. The officer understood her discomfort and why she was so annoyed. He then offered assistance in the most incredible way. As enraged as Shiny was because of her brake lights not functioning even though she got them very recently, there was a very odd reason her brake lights were fixed for a staggering $600. In a post she shared on her social media accounts, Shiny described how Firestone wanted to charge her $600 for nothing more than checking her car's wiring. The officer was stunned when he heard her story. He couldn't let it go as he was pissed himself knowing that she was charged a staggering amount of money just to fix lights that weren't even fixed right. Enraged that Shiny was so overcharged, the officer decided to help her get her money back. He urged her to pop her trunk's hood. He wanted to see if he could fix her brake lights for free. She had spent quite enough on them already. Officer Jenkins told Shiny that she cared about her own safety more than a ticket, and according to him, the girl had paid enough already. The police officer felt that this was the least he could do. "I was just thinking, he's an angel. He's a blessing," Shiny said afterwards. But the question that remains to be asked is, will the officer be able to aid her, or will his efforts be in vain? Even though Officer Jenkins was unable to fix Shiny's brake lights, he made her day. She was overjoyed to know that he was going above and beyond just to help her. When Jenkins peered in the car's trunk, he wondered what was wrong with the lights. He tapped the trunk lights, but they didn't turn on. Shiny later said on a Facebook post she posted that Jenkins' first attempt to fix her lights failed. The good-hearted officer couldn't figure out her broken tail lights. So what was going on with them? Even though his first try was a failure, Jenkins had a few surprises on his sleeve. He then asked Shiny to get out and inspect the other relay box. Jenkins then started tampering with Shiny's car's hood, trying to diagnose the issue. The officer spent a half hour simply trying to figure it out. They were unable to discover why the brake lights stopped working, but Jenkins wasn't about to give up, despite the fact that he spent almost the entirety of his day looking for a way to fix them. He was bound to bring justice. He instructed me to go to an auto business right away. He said that he would follow me as long as I had my hazard lights on, Shiny told NBC. It is hard to believe that Officer Jenkins let her drive with no working brake lights. However, this only shows how far he was ready to go for her well-being. He knew that she was on her way to an interview and couldn't cancel that because of broken brake lights. He followed her to the mechanic, anxious and worried, wanting to make sure that this time she got the treatment she deserved. The only reason why Officer Jenkins stopped Shiny in the first place was his commitment to safety. All he cared about was the safety of citizens everywhere. Needless to say, it is quite risky to ride without working brake lights. Other drivers don't know when you'll stop and can hit you easily. Officer Jenkins was very enthusiastic about Shiny's car fix. The two of them drove separately to the nearest auto repair. He was adamant to know what was wrong with her light and get them fixed. He couldn't just let her drive around at the risk of crashing anytime she stopped. Jenkins was on a mission and Shiny felt that he was doing it all for her. He was going above and beyond his role. Shiny told NBC that even though Jenkins couldn't help her fix the lights, the simple fact that he tried meant a lot to her. Officer Jenkins eventually fixed her brake lights without her getting overcharged this time. Unfortunately, many people nowadays are most of the time seen as just another number. It sometimes feels like no one wants to get to know strangers beyond the surface. Everyone's gotten so shallow that the basic societal bonds are broken. People don't care much about helping others anymore. Luckily for Shiny, it wasn't the case with Officer Jenkins. He could have easily given me a ticket, but Officer Jenkins stepped out of his job and in a mechanic role to ensure I was straight. She wrote online in a post she shared. The officer's treatment of Shiny clearly moved her, and she wasn't the only one. Shiny posted about her entire event on Facebook. All of her friends and family who read her post were awestruck by Jenkins' act. She definitely didn't anticipate the tale to go any farther. She only expected her local community to hear the news and feel the same gratitude and warmth she did towards the officer. Little did she know, her story would go viral in the matter of hours. The story was trending on all social media platforms. It was read by thousands of people all over the channels. Shiny was surprised by the number of shares and comments her post received. From a girl with broken lights, she was suddenly a local star. Shiny became a household name as the tale went global. Thankfully, it was for a good cause that touched thousands of people. She later told NBC that her story was a beacon of light in a dark world. It was a ray of sunshine in the cloudy news cycle everyone was trapped in. She further said, "I believe one officer may start a trend." Shiny herself learned a valuable lesson from a simple act of kindness coming from a police officer she was frightened of at first. Unlike many others, he saw her as more than a civilian. He taught her that police officers are humans who are all distinct and one should never generalize. Shiny, just like the thousands of others who have followed this story, know that the officer went beyond his job description to offer her aid. Overwhelmed with his thoughtfulness, Shiny said, "I'm really grateful he helped me." She said that the second best thing that happened to her was knowing that she had influenced so many people by sharing it. But the good news doesn't stop here. Shiny decided to thank the officer publicly. Even though she thanked him personally the day of the event, she felt that it wasn't enough. Following her viral story, she decided to share another post to thank the police officer and recognize his efforts. When she first posted it, she wasn't expecting any reply. But the Henrico County Police in Virginia wanted to thank Shiny for her wonderful evaluation. They wrote in their own post, "Shiny Stackers shared this heartfelt post about one of our cops. We are extremely proud of our cops. Officer Jenkins, you went above and beyond, and we are proud of having you. If there's anything you should take with you from this story, it is that you must always look past people's appearances. It won't hurt if you go the extra mile to give assistance to those in need. In addition to that, it is safe to assume everyone got their friendly reminder about the importance of having brake light that work."